Hello, everybody. It is May 12th, 2024. I'm pulled off the side of the road because it's a nice shady spot. I'm tired. I only got like maybe 4 hours of sleep. I got home pretty late last night from my cousins. I got home at like 3 a.m. and I had to get up at like 7 to go to church. And so uh, I'm a tired monkey, but I wanted to do this video so that I could make sure that I got this day in history for May 12th. So here we go. We're just going to get right into it. Birthdays: 1907, American actress Audrey Hepburn. She was born in Connecticut, died in Connecticut. She was born on this day in 1907. In 1925, baseball great Yogi Berra was born in St. Louis. He was born on this day. 1928, Burt Bacharach. Now, that name may sound familiar to you. If you've ever watched the Austin Powers movie, where he's actually introduced, that really was him. He's an American singer and pianist, and he was featured in one of the Austin Powers movies. 1937, comedian, a great comedian. I miss his comedy. George Carlin. He was kind of foul-mouthed, but he was funny, and he took real-world issues and really made you look at him, really made you think about them, and then laugh at him. He was great. If you were into skateboarding at all, a pioneer in the art form and sport of skateboarding, Tony Hawk, his birthday is today, in 1968. And Jonah Lomu, he was born on this day in 1975, and he is a New Zealand rugby union football player. So I really don't follow rugby, but I know what it is, but I just don't really follow it. This day in history in 1780, Major General Benjamin Lincoln of the Continental Army surrenders about 7,000 troops in Charleston, South Carolina. He lost, I guess. Yeah, that's kind of a bit of a blow there to the Continental Army there, but in the end, they won the war. So there you go. If you've ever heard of Florence Nightingale, I heard the name, but I've never really understood what the significance of the name was. Well, she was born on this day. And I probably should have had that up there, but it was in a different section. At any rate, Florence Nightingale, her claim to fame is that she as a profession, she trained nurses. She was a nurse herself. She trained nurses. She was born in Italy on this day in 1820, and being the son of a nurse, my mother was an emergency room nurse. She worked at the hospital for 26 years, but was in the emergency room for about 25 of those 26 or 27 years, somewhere in there, I think. I remember when she started out, she was what they called a candy striper. She actually had the red and white striped uniform. Then later they kind of did away with what they call the candy stripers. But my mother was a nurse, and so you would think that I would know this, because it's kind of like what my mother's profession was. But so Florence Nightingale was a nurse. She trained nurses professionally. She was from Florence, Italy. And her birthday is actually which is today. Today actually being Mother's Day. Here, at any rate, it's 2024. May 12th, 2024 is Mother's Day here in the United States, but it's also International Nurses Day in honor of Florence Nightingale, who professionally trained nurses. In 1926, the very first undisputed flight over the North Pole happens. And how this happens is that they're in a semi-rigid airship. Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen, American Lincoln Ellsworth, and Italian engineer Umberto Nobile. They all participated in this flight, and it was the first undisputed flight that it went over the North Pole in an airship. I'm assuming that's like a Zeppelin, but they said it's semi-rigid, so back in that time period, it probably was most likely a blimp of some sort, or what they called Zeppelins. They were also known as airships. So that happened in 1926. And I don't know why I skipped way far ahead there when Florence Nightingale was 1820. My bad. 1846 is the Donner Party. If you've ever heard of the Donner Party, well, it was on this day in 1846 that they left Independence, Missouri. I've actually been there to Independence, Missouri. I've actually seen where the wagon trains left Independence. It's kind of cool. But if you know the name, you might know Donner Pass. It is, well, now it's a highway that takes Sacramento to Reno, Nevada. It's in the Sierra Nevadas, and what happened to the Donners is that they left on this day in 1846, but several months later they got stuck. They got caught up in I believe there was a blizzard or something. Like, in other words, it's like they left too late in the year to make the trip up and over, through the Sierra Nevadas and the like. But so they get stuck, they run out of food, and members of the Donner Party had resorted to cannibalism to survive. And so my buddy Darren and I, we used to make jokes about being so hungry that we would put the Donners to shame, and we were referring to the Donner Party. We did that once at a Star Wars Celebration convention. It's like the granddaddy of all Star Wars conventions. We did that one time, and we made mention that we were starving, and that we should change our names to the Donner Party. And some other people that were there with us kind of looked at us and gave us dirty looks, and it was funny. In 1937, King George VI is crowned king because his brother Edward VIII abdicated his throne. If you've ever seen the movie King's Speech, I believe that was about King Edward. And King Edward was a bit of a stutterer. He had a speech impediment. And he ended up falling in love with an American. And so he abdicated his throne to marry this American because she wasn't of royal blood. And so he gave up his throne to, live a happy life. And he let his brother George take over as King of England. So, who of course would have been Queen Elizabeth's dad. If I've got that all right. I think I've got that all right. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. In 1949, on this day, May 12th, 1949, the Soviet Union lifts its blockade of Berlin. Only to kind of blockade it again, 12 years later? Yeah, about 12 years later. when the Iron Curtain came up in the Cold War began in 1961 there, and they kind of blocked off all of East and West Germany, and there was like a wall that literally went right through Berlin, East and West Berlin. So in 1972, the Rolling Stones, they released a double album called Exile on Main Street, and it was arguably they were known for it was their finest work ever. This is what it said in the article here, and but it was a double album that was released on this day in 1972. On this day in 2008, had an earthquake strike the Sichuan province of China, and unfortunately, in that catastrophic event, it killed 90,000 people. So it was not so good for those people. At any rate, that concludes this day in history for May 12th. We'll do it again tomorrow for May 13th, and so on, and so on, and so on. At any rate, I'm tired, and I'm just a few miles from home, so I'm going to go home and probably crash, take a nap, so I can go game with my buddy later tonight on the Xbox for a little bit before I go back to sleep again for tomorrow and face my, start a new work week or whatever. But this has been your day in history. It's a beautiful, gorgeous Sunday afternoon, Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. Don't forget to call your mother. I called mine yesterday. So, if I don't call her now, it's okay because I already got myself covered when I called her yesterday. But have a great day. Take care. Be blessed. God bless each and every one of you. And just have a great day. And we will do this all again tomorrow. Take care. Be blessed. And I'm signing off. I'll talk to you later. Bye.